What's going on YouTube? Guy in the back seat here from Doomviller Games here with a sort of a Yu-Gi-Oh! History mixed with my predictions for what will probably happen involving the game between now and the end of next year. So I'm filming this January 1st of 2013, and this is me basically with my predictions for what will be made. This is no ban list. This is no, crazy predictions on like ruling changes, nothing like that. This is what will be printed in the coming year. So, this is the little tidbit of Yu-Gi-Oh! History. If you did not know or realize because you're not, crazy like some of the friends that I have, Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster packs actually follow a rainbow of colors. They have a specific order that they go in. There's 8 colors, and they have significance to each one of them. Now, I'm not going to go into detail to each one. You can look up the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pack Rainbow if you want on Google, and it should be able to give you all the information that I'm not telling you now. But point is when Zexal first launched, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, the next generation of the show, they kind of had hit a intermediary. Usually they have green packs to launch a generation of a set. So Zexal kind of came in as a curveball. I don't know if they planned it that way or if it just didn't work out, but whatever. This was the first time that they had launched a new series without a green pack. Because if you remember, what was it called? Uh, Duelist Genesis was a green pack, and that was the beginning of, the 5Ds era. And I believe, I might be wrong here, but the GX era launched with a brown pack or the orange pack, which was Lost Millennium. So, they always kind of launch on a weird color, but they really like to launch new concepts, new ideas, and stuff like that in green packs, which this was the first generation where they actually skipped that. So, either way, point is, the pack rainbow goes as follows. It starts with green and moves to yellow and then moves to red and then to orange and then it goes to blue. So we actually started a little backwards. We started right in the middle this time, but to each their own. It's Konami's rules, so they can do what they want. But either way, Generation Force marked the beginning of a new booster pack set series, essentially, and went to purple. So it goes blue to purple to black, which usually defines the end of a like meta. I don't know if you guys didn't realize, but Order of Chaos had the Inzectors in it, which went on to win Worlds. Granted, World Tournament is a whole different meta in itself, but still, it really like black packs tend to break the format wide open for new players, new decks. If you don't remember, the wind-up loop became a viable thing because of this pack. I mean, there was just so many things that people said, no, 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 we don't need this. And then, and also the black pack tends to center around dark monsters. Case in point, if you look back, the last black pack was Absolute Power Force, and the one before that was the goodness, Phantom Darkness, which had Yubel in it. But either way, the deck nobody plays. Anyway, and then there's a white pack, which is Galactic Overlord in our case, which usually tends to favor light monsters and always introduces something that can negate something, aka Bouncer. Then we started our new series because like in the middle of them transitioning to a new anime, they had a new series of cards because like their series starts on green. So Return of the Duelist usually should introduce a new form of concept. Unfortunately, there really wasn't any new concept in Return of the Duelist, which kind of upset me. I mean, Prophecy is cool, Heroics are not good in my opinion. They're a decent deck, but not, something I'd put my money into. I mean, but there was no real new thing. Then it follows with Abyss Rising, which, is an interesting set if anybody knows. Then we have the set that we are getting here in the States and across all the TCG, Cosmo Blazer, which we are getting come the end of this month, and that's the sneak peek. And then right after that, we have the real release of it in early February. Now, the packs release on a 3-month ratio, like 3-month time period between each of the packs release. So, Cosmo Blazer is our red pack, and the next pack after that is set to be released in, as Konami has already said, May, and it's called Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy. I've already looked at some of the spoilers, and as I predicted earlier in a video that I called Convulsion of Nature, Yu-Gi-Oh's addiction to the elements, Wind got support, just like Cosmo Blazer, Fire's getting support. Abyss Rising, Water got support, and Return of the Duelist, Earth got support. So, very interesting. I've never done that to my knowledge in the past. So, to see them actually, supporting each of the elements phenomenally, is like every element's becoming playable, which is really cool in my opinion. But unfortunately, it's like almost too little too late because decks like Lightsworn and decks like Dark Worlds are still running rampant and easy and getting easier and easier to build. I mean, Dino Rabbit just became, you know, budget with Guaiba getting reprinted and with all these cards. Like, it's just so silly how easy some of these decks are to build now. And you look at like Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy, introducing the Harpy deck that's going to be ridiculous, and that's what's shooting up the prices on eBay. Now, the stuff that I will predict will be printed by the end of the year. We have Cosmo Blazer as our first pack that we're getting in early January, or late January, early February. Then we have our pack that we're getting at the end, or in May. But then you have the next pack, which has to be, by all default sense, has to be a blue pack based on how they've done their pattern in the past, and we'll have a purple pack. So we're basically going to have the same, style of colors that we had 2 years ago, and that's how they've been doing it indefinitely forever. So we'll have a blue pack and a purple pack, blue pack in probably August and purple pack in November. So that's how they're going to roll, and I don't really have an issue with it. I think that, each of the packs is going to have their own. But in my opinion, the blue pack might have that new concept introduced to it, because if they go by their old standard, they will. And honestly, like the purple pack is probably just going to be another, crazy pack extending onto the whole, theories of Zexal, how there's going to be another new world and they're never going to finish all 100 numbers. But now there's 107 of them, or 108 or whatever. So anyway, prediction wise, I know we're going to have a blue and a purple pack by the end of this year, spoiled and announced. So anyway, the next bit that I wanted to go over was that there are 2 structure decks that we are awaiting, because as I said before in that same video, we have 2 structure decks that are incoming. We have an earth one and a wind one that we are pretty much preset to get. But you have to look at how they do things. They don't like to really introduce whole brand new archetypes. If you haven't noticed, most of the structure decks have kind of been elaborations on previous ideas, and just like kind of modded them a little bit, tweaked them, and thrown them into a deck and said, here you go. So I mean, if you think about it, you look at the granted, aside from like the Sea Serpent deck, like the Sea Serpent deck was an original concept, but we had already gotten Atlantean, or not marksman, but like the one guy infantry, and we already had, a couple of other cards, but it's like Diva was a card before they made that deck, and if you look at like Six Sams, that structure deck was all Six Samurai. Everybody already knew all of it. It was just a tournament deck. It really wasn't even a real, new concept. And then, you look at like the Dragoonities. Dragoonity was already an established archetype. They just set it up to be a new, stronger one. And then you had, all the other decks that they've been releasing lately. And so, in my opinion, you have to look at 2 archetypes that have support, have it there almost. It's like those decks, like Machinas. Come on, the deck was like, gadgets are good, but they made gadgets into a deck that you could really use with a boss monster that would never die. Dark World's got 3 new cards, and all of a sudden, 4 new cards, and all of a sudden, all the games busted wide open. There were no problems for that deck to be almost top tier. And then you had, agents just reinvigorating these old, dead, crazy archetypes that nobody would have thought were going to be real tier. I mean, agents, come on, when they first came out, everybody was just like, this is stupid. Like, there was one OTK deck, so point is, you have to look at archetypes that are realistic for them to want to reinvigorate. So I mean, in my opinion, Rock Stun is a thing. I don't believe that Konami wants to make that a thing, but Rock Stun is a thing. So if I was to put out my pick for if there was going to be a rock deck or an earth deck, there's only two that I can think of. One is Rock Stun. I mean, Rock Stun has pretty much got all the pieces. You have a Earth and Rock and Warrior deck that you can basically build around. And I mean, Urnite, Beast Warrior, granted, like Earth, Rock, Beast Warrior, I get it. It's not a complete archetype within itself. Like, not all the types match. But Urnite is a ridiculous card when he goes off. And Kokimiru Guardian and Wall and Sandman all in combination, just dumb. And it gives you the ability to reprint these cards. Plus, they could make a new boss monster or 2 new cards, 3 new cards that just make the deck go over the edge. And I think that Rock Stun as a structure deck would be interesting for the game. I don't think it would be the best thing for the game, but I think it would be cool to have a deck out there where anybody like me that doesn't want to play the standard way of playing, just wants to play a control build, Rockstone would be my pick. I mean, you could throw in Rook Lords and Urnites and Bergzacs and make him a achievable reprint, because he is a secret rare and he's not an expensive one, but he's still a secret rare. And give Guardian Sandman and Wall an easy way to be attained, and just throw it all in one big deck and just make, like, throw in Fossil Dynas and just make an interesting rock deck. I think Konami, that would be a very cool, concept. Just give Kokimiru just like 3 more cards and watch what they do. Because I mean, if 4 new cards make Dark Worlds, that deck that was sort of playable but not really awesome, then give it to Rockstar and see what happens. Just awesome idea, in my opinion. Either way, then you have the support that they're releasing for My Valentine. If you don't remember, I mentioned earlier with Lord of the Techian Galaxy, the Harpy deck will be a thing. So in my opinion, that is my flat out pick for wind structure deck. If they are going to build or make a wind structure deck, then it needs to be something good or brand new. Like old and has been made new, or, good and brand new. So they aren't going to make the Phantom Beast planes. That's a brand new set. But if you make a structure deck around Harpy Ladies, you can give us all these reprints and make everybody on eBay cry. Please, Konami. I mean, this card, Harpy's Pet Dragon, should not be $70. That is ridiculous. This card, Cyber Harpy Lady, not impossible to find, but it's still a promo that's hard to get. So you can't keep having these cards be extremely expensive. I'm not against anybody that sells it and to make a profit right now. Good for you. But Jesus Christ, $70? $300 for a playset of Ulti Queens and 2 Ulti Pet Baby Dragons and 1 Harpy's Pet Dragon. $300 completed on eBay. Look it up. You'll laugh until you cry. It is dumb. So make this a common, or even make it the ultra rare. I don't care. But this deck needs to be contained in an easy to attain form, because it is just too expensive at the moment. It's not even out yet, and it's expensive. But if they were to go with the My Valentine support to try to make her character more important, then the secondary choice that I have for the Earth structure deck would be Amazoness. This deck is dumb. When the opponent does not see it coming, it can win, but it is extremely rare. So like I said, give it like 7, or not even 7, like 3 or 4 new support cards that just make it retardedly good and competitive again, and just reinvigorate these old dark types. I mean, we have archetypes established. We don't need a new set of 3 every single set. It is just irrelevant to me for us to have to keep track of 19 new archetypes every year, and that's just my opinions, and I really hope that this is something that Konami can take to heart, make either a Rock Stun or an Amazoness structure deck. Thank you guys for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe. Have a nice night. Happy New Year.